Travel, beauty, fashion, entertainment, arts, fitness, celebrity interviews, and inspiring, engaging conversations with some of the best new and old music around. All this and more when you tune into On the Go with Tiffany Patton podcast. Now, here's your host, Tiffany Patton.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You are listening to On the Go with Tiffany Patton, your link to love, life, and liberty. And we have a phenomenal show for you today. We have one of my personal favorites on the show. I listen to her in the car on podcasts. I watch her on YouTube. She has a wealth of knowledge, and she'll have, I know, several nuggets to drop with us tonight. And it is no other than my very special guest, Dr. Cindy Trimm, and I will officially introduce her in just a few moments. But what I love to do is start off with the word of the day. And today's word of the day is don't allow distractions to deter you. So many times distractions come in our life the enemy sets us up because he knows that he can't physically stop us. But if he can get us ourselves to stop what God has in store for us, then it will get done. So what he does is he'll send distractions of frustration. He'll send distractions of untimely or not ordained relationships. He'll send distractions of sometimes even illnesses, because sickness doesn't come from God. God wants us to be healed and whole and set free. But sometimes God may allow a thing to work some things out of us or work some things in us. So all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So the distraction can be turned for our good. God always allows that. But it's us who have to be very mindful of the distractions that will come and try to steal us from the God-given destiny that God has created us all for. So be careful on today, on this week, this month, this weekend, of the distractions that may come and things that irritate you or may scare you or hinder you, or sometimes even get you very excited. Because like I said, some relationships aren't ordained by God, but he'll set it up in such a way that it will feel or seem as if it is. So be careful of distractions. Keep your eyes on him. Always be prayerful. And if you allow God to guide you, he will guide you and lead you into the pathway that he has in store for you, which is much, much grander than one that you could have ever imagined for yourself. So that is the word for the day. And I stated that I have an amazing guest, and she should not need any introduction. She is a best-selling author, a life strategist with years of expertise and thought and industry-leading education. She's a psychotherapist, corporate advisor, consultant. She was even groomed in Bermuda, where she was raised, as a senator. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And now she adds on the names and titles of wife and even mother, which we are so elated to see and hear. And I like to introduce to you and present to some and introduce to others the amazing, the didactable, and I love to hear her speak, Dr. Cindy Trimm.
Hey there.
Good afternoon.
I'm so excited about your word for today. Personally, thank you for having me.
No, you're more
But
than
that word is so important about distractions because, attention is in the new normal is the new currency.
Yes.
So whoever holds your attention determines your destiny, determines what you spend your money on. So, distractions become the enemy of destiny, prosperity, and success. So, if I was the devil, the first thing I'd do is distract you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes,
And if I can hold your attention, I can control your destiny. I think that vision is important, though, because if you have broken focus, the way to fix that is to have a vision for your life, because that will dictate where you spend your time, your energy, and your resources. And those are the three things: your energy, your focus, your resources. How you spend your resources basically determine where you end up tomorrow, at the end of the week, the end of the month, the end of the year. And if you don't like where you are, then all you have to do is alter those three things, because it's those three things that brought you where you are today, exactly where you are today.
Energy, focus, and resources.
Yeah. How you spend your resources, the resource of time, relationships. And I think a lot of us don't think about relationships at all, as being one of the key contributors to our destiny. Yes. It is. Yes. When the wrong people leave your life, it makes room for the right people to come into your life.
Yes, ma'am.
And then sometimes you don't wait for someone to say goodbye. You give yourself a going away party.
Yes, ma'am.
You bring your balloons and your cake, and people will say, "Oh, you didn't have to do it." I didn't. I did it for myself. Bye.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So when you've outgrown a realm or a relationship, it's really up to you to pronounce the benediction on that season of your life, to say goodbye. And in this season, you've got to see the future and the past as opposing, opposite ends of the continuum. So view the past as your foe and the present as your friend. And then ask yourself every single day, who do you want to spend the most time with? Obviously your friend. So you have to say goodbye to the past.
Yes, ma'am. Didn't I tell you nuggets already? And it's the first 3 minutes, 3 seconds of our interview. Nuggets.
You started it.
I love it. I love it. I could literally, Dr. Trimm, honestly, I can listen to you. My daughter has moved out of state, and I drive pretty often, more often than I thought I would, to go and visit her. And I listen to your podcast, and I listen to you, and I get so full. One time, of course, my dad was with me, because I take care of my dad now. And he just looked at me, and I pulled over, and I literally had to, I was worshiping and praising, because I just went in, because it was such a rich, on-time word. And that's when I knew it was a Rhema word, because it wasn't something that you necessarily did recently, but it spoke to me in the now. And I definitely have a fondness for you and your ministry, and the things that you've had to go through to even give you the wisdom. And then people don't understand, it's the discipline that you've had to have to be able to sit at the master's feet and lend him your ear to be able to hear, because everybody isn't willing to do the work. And I do understand that does take discipline. And so I thank you so much for that.
You're so welcome. It's a pleasure. I think I stumbled into success, so the next generation doesn't have to. You can run with just unfettered stride into your future. I'm just praying that God will take the struggle out of our stride. And that's my prayer for the next generation. And I'm praying that, I would bow down low enough, and you'll be able to attain greatness by standing on my shoulders. And that's my wish. That's what I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing. Empowering the next generation of great leaders. The world needs it.
Yes.
And I would hate to think that I'm one in my generation who is fighting for the same things that the next generation is fighting for. I want to fight for you so that you can go ahead and fight for humanity. Yes. And you need mentorship. I mean, I look at all of the greats, and they all had mentors. Yes. It wasn't based on giftedness or calling or anointing. It was based on mentorship. You even look at the Bible with Moses. Moses was mentored by Pharaoh.
Mm-hmm.
And then Moses mentored Joshua. You see, Esther was mentored by Mordecai. Ruth mentored Naomi. Timothy was mentored by Paul. And so all the great biblical characters, even when you look at people like Oprah Winfrey, she was mentored by Mrs. Duncan, later on by Maya Angelou. And I can go on and on and on to talk about actors and singers and performers and entertainers. I think the missing link for the millennials, Generation Z, even X and A, I think, I think the missing link is going to be mentorship. Yes. And I believe that in this generation, more of my generation will turn back. I'm not saying that they should. Mm-hmm. I believe that they will, because that was one of the things many of us didn't have. I think, mentorship really is a relationship that is entered into by the protege acknowledging you're my mentor, and the mentor saying you're my protege. Yes, and it's a relationship. It's a covenant relationship. Yes. It's different from coaching. Coaching is skills oriented, and it's, you have a start date and a completion date. Yes. But mentorship is a lifetime. A lifetime. It's about personal development. It's about self-development. Mm-hmm. It's about holding you accountable to become the best version of yourself at the stage and age that you're in. It's about you as a protege discovering your purpose and what you have the potential to do, and then the mentor holding you accountable for doing that, for being moral and ethical in your approach to life. And, at 17, I knew that I was a world leader. I just knew it. And I look back and I said, okay, what was missing in my life? Mm-hmm. Because at 30, I was running my country. So I felt if I had this missing link, mm-hmm. I could have been ruling the world. Yes. Yeah. Yes, and so, really being objective and rational, looking back at each stage of my life, mm-hmm. I asked myself what was missing. The only thing that was missing it was not the vision, not the personal knowledge of who I was, mm-hmm. Not the opportunities. All of those were there. What was missing was the mentor. So that's what I want to, I am, and I'm putting myself out there for all the, women, all the women that are in leadership, that are entrepreneurs, that are saying, I know I want to do something great. Yes. I talk to you. I put myself out there.
I'm gonna put a pin in that, and I'm gonna come back because I have a question there. But I would be remiss if I did not speak about a very timely book. All of your books are timely. All of your books are just right on time. But see, that goes back to being one with God and knowing when to move. But the book Unstoppable was already predicted to be the bestseller, and it introduces her self-mastery series. And you talk about the core 4 system and this book. And Dr. Trimm takes readers through a mastering of mindsets, behaviors, personal brands, and leadership skills to become the very best versions of themselves, to be able to evolve in a very complex world, which you could only be up under a rock if you did not understand that is the time and day that we're living in right now. I have a question though. What intrigued me was living and leading from your genius zone. Can you give us what is the genius zone?
Yeah, all of us have a genius. I think of a genius as something that is God-given, something that we can fully express who we are through that. And it's a mindset that you take. I look at Venus and Serena, any actor or actress that is really good at what they do, Venus and Serena. Gandhi, for instance, Sir Winston Churchill. I'm trying to think in my mind a variety of people. And someone like a Whitney Houston, a
Yes.
Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
just individuals that were more than gifted. They took their gift and they operated at the highest level of
Yes.
their potential.
Yes, ma'am.
That's your genius zone. That's your sweet spot.
Yeah.
That is, you could be good at a whole bunch of things, but what is that one thing that you could be great at? And this is what self-mastery is all about. Self-mastery is carving out a personal path to the next best version of yourself, one that leads to the greatest expression of yourself, where you perform at the highest level of your potential. And in the process, beginning with self-knowledge and ending with self-actualization, you actually influence change within your industry and within humanity. And that's the best way I can say your genius zone. You're actually mastering yourself so that the orientation towards yourself and towards the world makes this world a better place to live in.
I love it. I love it. The genius zone. Well, I'm actively working to work my genius zone, because that, as you stated, would be the sweet spot. And I think everybody all through life goes through life trying to reach that destination, I do believe.
Yeah.
They may not master it in the way, and I would say that it was probably because they did it in their thought pattern instead of maybe asking God the direction. Sometimes we go on our own leading in our own direction. And sometimes some of us, like myself, we get tired of, hitting our head on a brick wall. So we stop and we say, okay, you know what? I tried it my way, God. Can you help me with this? And then others that don't, they become frustrated with life and it could have been just one step away from it, but they just didn't take that extra push, maybe extra sacrifice. And sometimes humbling themselves to ask God for help, because I think a lot of times people see God as people, and I understand that disappointment happens, but God is never like people, thank goodness. And he loves us no matter what, unconditionally. So he's always ready for our reconciliation with him. So with Unstoppable, I love it because it reminds me of one of the favorite songs by Corinne Hawthorne, Unstoppable. When you name this book, it happened to be right after, during, almost in the middle of us coming out of a pandemic, something that I never, for whatever reason in my mind, thought could happen. But it was a time, and we're still kind of in it, where people are still, they found themselves. A lot of people have realized some things about themselves, about where they are in their work, where they were in their family and their relationships. What is the best in writing this book? What is the one thing that came out that was kind of like that aha for you? Like, wow, that's good. That's going to help. That's going to be the thing that helps and resonates with most, because I know the message is always for the messenger first. So what was it that maybe hit you first? Is like, you know what? That's good.
Yeah, I think that's a really great question to ask, because it's going to make me dig deep. But I tell a story in the first chapter about this race that I was in. I was 5 years old in elementary school, and they put me in this race. Now, I'm not athletic. I grew up as a ballerina, but that's the extent of my athletic ability. I can't run, I can't hit a ball, I can't do anything, but I could turn on point shoes, right?
All right.
But they just 5 years old. I grew up, number 6 of 7 kids.
Yes,
so I couldn't tie my shoelace. I guess it was easier to just tie my shoelaces than teach me. So anybody tied my shoelace in the family. They put me in the shoelace race. It was a kiddie race, right? And then there was, the next grade 2, grade 3, grade 4 after that, their races. So everything hung on this race starting to finish. So they put me in a shoe race, and I had my clothes creased. I was this poor little girl, but I looked like everybody else. My hair was in a ponytail. And they said, okay, on your mark, get set, go. So you have to put your sneakers at the starting, go to the finish, run to the start, tie your shoelace, and go back to the finish.
Okay.
So I'm running like every other kid, 5-year-old kid, and everybody put on their shoes, and I put on my shoes. Then one by one, they left because they had tied their shoes. I was the last one there.
Mm-hmm.
And, I didn't know how to tie my shoes. So my teacher came and said, Cindy, let me help you. I said, no, teach me. Because I knew that if I don't know how to tie my shoes, I could not compete in any races. And that's what it's like for many people. They see everybody running off, getting success, getting prosperity, but there's something missing. They're doing everything they could possibly do, but no one teaches them the trade secrets.
Yes, ma'am.
So I made my teacher teach me to tie. She tied one and showed me how to tie the other. I untied it, and I can hear my mother saying, "Go, Cindy." The kids saying, "Go, Cindy." Everybody saying, "Go, Cindy." And I refused to move because I wanted to run legitimately. So I tied my shoelace. The race is not to the swift, but to the strong, the he that endures to the end.
Yes.
And I learned that day, once I tied, I ran across the finish line. They all cheered. They gave me a prize. I guess it was consolation prize or something like that. It wasn't first, second, or third.
Right.
But I learned that day that I was not competing with anyone. I was competing with the next best version of myself, and I can win. And in the first chapter, I began to talk to you about how you are unstoppable. You are born to win. You have a winning streak already. The day that you were conceived, over a million seeds were released of other possible yous. And they were all swimming up to your mother's egg.
Yes.
And out of all of those millions of sperm, other possible yous, you won. And you are here today. And if you could do that without arms and legs and feet and eyes, and teeth and lungs and a nose, and if you can win against all those other millions of possible other yous, imagine what you could do today with a brain, with an eye, with a nose, with a mouth, with an ear. And that was my greatest lesson in life. I am not competing with anyone else. Yes. I'm competing with the next best version of myself, and I'm going to win. And that's why I wrote this book, Unstoppable.
Yes, Unstoppable.
And you are not wired for failure. You're wired for success. And my last statement, if everyone could accept this one statement, that your past doesn't define you. You are better than the worst thing you've ever done, and greater than the biggest mistake you've ever made. If you can accept that, you're greater than that, you're bigger than that, then you will be unstoppable.
That is Dr. Cindy Trimm. This is why you get the book Unstoppable. It is in all of
Amazon.com.
Amazon.com. You want to make sure. I put in my order, and I was mad because I normally get things in Amazon like next day, and it told me it's actually coming later today. It's at between 5 and 10. So I'm still waiting for my copy, but I will have.
Well, it's print on demand. So it's print on demand.
Okay.
So when you order, they print it and they ship it out to you. So we don't do the shipping. It's shipped from the publishing company.
Okay.
And so it'll take a little longer time, but it's worth the investment. And I want to encourage everyone. It's a new book, but we also have the program to go with it, the Unstoppable program. So they can go on unstoppableMasterclass.com and do the program. So it's forwarded by my friend Les Brown.
Les Brown, yes, Mr. Les Brown. And what you just said was wonderful. I don't want to keep you long, but you answered my question that I had is, please tell us the power of consistency. And that was almost a twofold answer for the next question, because I hear you talk about it so much in your podcast and your writings. And and my pastor says it often about being consistent and why that is so necessary when it comes to your purpose.
Yeah, it's the 10,000 hour theory.
Yeah.
Whatever you do for 10,000 hours, then you succeed in that thing. So I can remember starting out in business, after I left government, I had to hit a hard reset because I immigrated to the United States of America about 30 years ago. So I had to start all over. I wish I knew now what I teach my proteges, because I was already on the top of my game. I didn't have to start all over. I just had to reinvent myself and then recraft my personal brand. That's all I had to do.
Okay.
But anyway, hey, you learn. I stumbled into success so that you don't have to. But anyway, coming to the United States of America, I didn't come for a better life. I had a better life. I came by assignment. This was an assignment that God gave me.
Yes.
So I came to the United States of America, hit a hard reset. So I'm a Black female immigrant. So that will tell you. Everything. I look around and I'm so blessed. But everything was created by vision. A lot of people don't understand, this book, Unstoppable, it's about self-mastery. And what is important about self-mastery is a very simple statement that I'm about to make. And I want everyone to hold this as true. You cannot succeed past your concept of self or the level of your self-worth. You cannot succeed past that. So how you think about yourself is where you place yourself. So some of us talk about our relationships, but you place yourself there.
That's right.
So your feet will never take you where your mind has never been. And you have to, take some time for self-mastery. Self-mastery starts right with self-awareness. And self-awareness is knowing where I end and you begin.
Amen.
Because a lot of us are somebody that we should not be because we're enmeshed in people's opinion of ourselves, enmeshed in other people's lives. And, you've got to know where you end and someone else begins. And then the next one is self-knowledge. Do you really know who you are? And then the next is self-approval. Do you approve of your greatness? Do you approve of your success? Do you approve of your prosperity? A lot of people don't. They say, this is what I want, but they don't approve of it. And then, self-love, that's the big thing now. Self-love, self-care. You notice everything is self. How can you care for a self that you don't know?
Yes, ma'am. I have been coined self-love strategist, but it came out of a lot of what you stated just now, which was true. It came out of me being in a relationship I should not have been in. I placed myself in that. However, I would not have placed myself in that relationship had I not addressed some of the things growing up that I should have. So a lot of times we run from ourselves and run from the very things that we need to look at, because if we can address it, then we can shine light on it. For me, I needed to give it over to God and let him do some things and allow the ugly phase. And once you go through the ugly phase, then you can get to the other side of it. But without stopping and allowing that, when I finally said, you know what, I want the very best version of myself. And that means that I have to go through this. And I just allowed it. And I didn't.
So let me drop this one nugget one more time to repeat it.
Yes.
I want everyone to write this down.
Please.
I cannot outperform my current concept of self nor succeed beyond the level of my self-worth.
That's it.
That's it. This is the science of self-mastery. So, if you feel, a lot of times these are all subconscious. So if the level of your self-worth is to be, I don't know, to earn $5 a year, even if you earned $100,000, guess what? That $100,000 is going to slip through your hands so that all you have left is that $5. So this is the science of self-mastery. To thy own self be true. We try to control things outside of ourselves, but you have to control things inside of you. Where does tomorrow come from? Where does your future come from? Where does your future come from? It comes from within you. It comes from within you. So if you want to change your future, stop trying to change things and people outside of you. Change yourself, and things and people outside of you will change to accommodate the change that you make. You go first. So this is in marriage, this is in relationships, this is in friendship, this is in the workplace. You see, I think there's this. My husband talks about relationship revolution, right? Yes, and my definition of a revolution is the exercise of sovereignty over a realm. So the revolution is not between someone, it's inside of myself. Yes, that's what the revolution, me exercising sovereign control over me. Yes, so I'm the CEO of me.org.com.
Yes, ma'am.
Inc.
I love it. I love it.
That's it. You know, people will disappoint you. People will reject you. And again, rejection is a gift. Poverty is a gift. The greatest two gifts God ever gave me is the gift of poverty and the gift of rejection.
I'm in great company.
I tell you why. The gift of poverty, I started my first business at 8. So I've been financially responsible for myself since I was 8 years old. And the gift of rejection was just that knock on the head to say, hey, you have outgrown this relationship and outgrown this realm. Yes. So go ahead and give yourself a going away party. Yeah. You don't wait for someone to reject you. Give yourself a going away party. And it takes personal integrity. And this is why this book, Unstoppable, is important for people, because it really pushes you to a place of personal integrity. See, credibility is you not lying to the world. Yes. Integrity is you not lying to yourself.
I love it.
So when you operate in your genius zone, yes, you are simply saying, I refuse to lie about my genius. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at this, but I am good at something. And you want me to lie about being good at it. But that's called false humility. I refuse to dumb down to blend in, to fit in. Because I'm good at something, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So I don't have problems with other people lying about who they are. I have problems when you want me to lie about who I am. Yes. Now that's what I have problems with. So I'm not good at, basketball. I'm not good at gymnastics. God knows I'm not good at singing. But what I'm good at is communicating. I can write and I can speak. That's what I'm good at. Yes. So I cannot give God glory if I refuse to let my light shine. Listen to what the scripture says. Let your light so shine before man, that man may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So that means that if they can't see it, God can be glorified. So you have to let your light shine. Operate in your genius zone. Go ahead. Listen. You know why you have a horn? People say you shouldn't toot your own horn. Who's going to toot it for me? Right. So I tell people, toot your own horn, beat your own drum. Right. Because nobody's going to do it for you. Why? Because they have their own to toot.
Exactly.
And beat.
Exactly.
So girl, get your horn in your hand and start blowing.
Yes, ma'am. You don't even know. I have a candle company called Inner Light Candle, and God gave me that very scripture. So let your light shine for that very reason. And the funny part about the toot of your own horn, I always thought about that one saying where they say you can't have your cake and eat it too. And then one day I just stopped. I was like, but wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. It's my cake. Why can't I have it and eat it? Because it's mine.
Guess what? You can't eat the cake if you don't have the cake. So I'm going to have my own cake.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
Eat it too.
That's right.
Yeah, because it's mine.
Yes. One more question regarding relationships. You just was the most beautiful bride, and you talked on several having different interviews. I know you were with Tamron and talked about being married and relationships 50 plus, because you actually got married at 60. Now I know you guys are looking and trying to wipe your screens and try to figure out, like, wait, what? I know she looks nowhere near. I get that. I do. Because nowhere near do you. But can you speak to those? Because I'm getting closer to that 50 club, but I'm very focused now. I'm no longer, I used to be the girl who, I gotta get married, and I think I at the time is because I think I needed it to complete me. I don't need that. It's an enhancement, not a completion. And I know that. And so speak to those women who feel like, I've gotten to this age and it's just over. I'm just going to hang it up. Or I'm just going to give it up. Or the ones that feel like I'm nothing if I don't have this, this, and this. There's so many, I think we have, and it starts when we're young, playing with Barbie dolls and things. I think we have certain expectations that are placed on us without us knowing. Speak to the women, or even the men who may feel as if they may have missed their turn or missed their mark, or it's too late. And going off of a time.
Complex. It's so complex because there's so many sort of sociological layers to this, a lot of cultural layers to it. So let me just go on the negative side and then bring it to the positive. So a lot of the potential men either in prison or they died prematurely, drug overdose, being shot, there's that issue. There's that issue. And then let me bring it right over to the positive side and hopefully speak in sound bites. At some point, you have to be able to say, I am enough.
Yes.
Yeah, we're born for community, so you don't get rid of it. There was never a day that I said, okay, I'm just going to give it up. I never gave it up. I put it on my vision and my vision board. So I do visions in 20-year increments.
Nice.
So in the first 20 years, everything that I wrote on that vision board and my vision came to pass, except that one was marriage. And I carried it over.
Okay.
To my next vision. So I'm on my second 20-year vision plan.
Wow.
And there are 12 components to write. I call them micro visions that make up your life plan. And you can find that in chapter number 8 in the book, Hello Tomorrow. And it's all there, chapter number 8, given to you and shows you how to write your life plan as a vision. So you have these 12 micro visions, and one of them is marriage. So you've got another 11 to focus on. So a lot of times we focus on maybe 3 micro visions that make up our life plan at the expense of the other 8 or 9 or 10 or 7 or whatever we're not focusing on. So what I did was I isolated the marriage and I kept praying for it. And then I gained fullness by pursuing my bucket list in the other 11 areas. So that's important.
Yeah.
So all is not lost. I know, a lot of women are giving up and they feel depressed, but you're giving up on your entire life.
Right.
You got another 11 out of 12 areas that you could find fulfillment in. It's a lot to do. So I started a nonprofit organization, Trimm Global Charities. So while people were adopting children and dogs and cats, I was adopting cities. It's so much to get involved in.
Yes.
And to be fulfilled with.
Yes.
That at the end of the day, I think we miss the better part of our lives. And then just don't put a hard time frame, because I initially said, I want to be married at 30 and then start my family at 32. I was a career person, start my family at 32 and at these hard dates. So when 30 came, 31, 32, 33, it's not like I didn't have suitors and these amazing men that could have been potentially my husband, and they were amazing human beings, right? But they just didn't have that thing I was looking for.
Yes.
So I think the thing that I was looking for was someone that had capacity for everything that I was as a woman.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of men that have capacity for you as a wife and a mother, but nothing else.
That's right.
But I'm a world leader. So you've got to have capacity for, yes, a wife, yes, a lover, but I'm a world leader. So you have to have capacity for that. And I was looking for someone that could affirm that in me and acknowledge it more than affirming it, acknowledging it and embracing that.
Yeah. And not
so know what you're looking for, in your husband, your spouse. And then you have to be very clear during the dating stage, your non-negotiables. What do you expect in this person as your husband? And then what do you expect from him as a man? This is two different roles.
Yes, ma'am.
As a male, I'm expecting this, this, and this. And as my husband, I'm expecting this, this, and this. These are my non-negotiables. So if you cannot, then I cannot.
Yes,
if
ma'am.
You cannot say yes to that, I will not say I do to you.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So, and then vice versa. What do you expect of me as a woman?
Yes.
And then as a wife. And let me come into agreement, because what you're not going to do to me is surprise me after I say I do.
I do. Yes, ma'am.
After I say I do, it's too late, because
we
have discussed this. Got what? There's no addendum. Oh, I forgot. You didn't read that. No addendum here. This is what we agreed on. Right. And there's a woman for every man and a man for every woman. Sure. So there were some women that love, housekeeping, and they don't mind cooking and cleaning and all of that. But when I got married, I already had a housekeeper.
Right.
So all of a sudden, please don't expect me. Bruh. Here's the bill. Here's the bill for the housekeeper. And the thing is, if I cook for one, I can cook for two. So I don't mind. And then I'm excessively clean.
Yeah.
Excessively.
Yeah.
So, you're going to have a clean house. You're going to have a cooked meal. These are the things I enjoy. But there are some women that don't enjoy it.
True.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do with that? And then, I look at my brother. My brother got married. He loves cleaning. He cooks. Nice. And he picks up the kids. He doesn't mind it.
Yeah.
He picks up the kids. He cooks. He cleans.
Yeah.
So, it depends. There's a woman for every man, a man for every woman.
Very true. Very true.
I hope that helped.
Yes, it did. And for those who are watching and listening, I pray that all of the wealth of information and just the realness, I think that's why, Dr. Trimm, you are so well loved. And even when you're giving information that when most others give it, it's not digested very well. It can be digested by you because you're just so authentic. And that is quite refreshing, I think, because so many people, especially in the age of social media, have all the different masks and faces and of people, of who they are. But your authenticity allows us to even be able to swallow even the unpalatable normally situations and things that you would have to say to us to get us where we need to be. So I thank you so much for all of your wisdom and your candidness, and congratulations on the nuptials. And it just looks wonderful on you. And I thank you for giving us hard things of negotiables of what we need. And because really what you gave us, we can apply across the board in business, and friendships. You just have to know your boundaries and what you will and won't accept and stand to that.
So if anybody's writing roles, rules, responsibilities, expectations, and boundaries.
Roles, rules.
So that's what you need in any kind of relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what are the rules of engagement? What is this role that I'm going to play? What are the boundaries? What are the expectations? All of that has to be hammered out. And I think that there are 12 bands of relationships, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you got to put people in their place. Which band do they belong in? The furthest from you is strangers. The closest to you is you. That's your sacred self, right?
You said the farthest from you is
a stranger.
Stranger, gotcha.
The closest to you is your sacred self.
Yes.
And there's only space for you and God there. Nobody
That's
else.
true. Yeah.
So, most of us live in the outer band number 12, as a stranger to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then you let strangers into your sacred place and they desecrate that space.
Oh, wow. That's powerful. Wow. That is very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
So these are the things, I mentor some of the best and brightest from around the world.
Yes.
That's my mentorship program, and again, The Unstoppable is the book that we talked about everything else.
Yes,
but you will be unstoppable.
Get the book. Get the book.
Yeah, you will be unstoppable.
I'm telling you, it will help you. The book's purpose is for you to help those of you who feel stuck. And then we all at certain points in our life get stuck, or we get kind of, there's a snag there and we're like almost there, but we just can't quite make it over. If you want to know the keys and the principles to be able to get over that hump, to get yourself unstuck, to kind of move the snag, pull it off, and just rip off the Band-Aid and go over, Unstoppable is the book on Amazon. You have to make sure the order is print to order. You will not regret this. One thing that you have to learn how to do is to invest in yourself. And this is one of the best investments, I promise you, that you will make by purchasing Unstoppable, because there's nothing like wisdom. No one can go in your head and cut it out. So get the keys, put it inside of you, take it, and then run and become the unstoppable person that God has designed you to do. Because Dr. Cindy Trimm has already done the heavy lifting. All you have to do is now just turn the page. Unstoppable on Amazon. Get it today. You will not be you won't be disappointed. And if you loved everything that you've heard here, she has a mentorship program. She's been my mentor already in my mind, like when I listen to her podcast and I'm driving, but definitely. And I've got to look at her mentorship because I just adore the authenticness of who she is and what she carries. And a lot of people, you need people to pour into you to help pull out of you what's already inside of you. And she has that, and she's put it in the form of courses and a mentorship program. So definitely do that, because I'm telling you, you'll never be the same. And for those who may say, okay, well, I may not be able to do that right now, she can still be a mentor. She has all types of amazing books, from Command Your Morning to the Hello Tomorrow to Unstoppable. Like, go and, I mean, she has books out there that you can just start the work now, start the work today. It's been definitely one of the most highlights of my day, my week, my month, and my year. I thank you. It has been a complete honor and joy. I simply adore you, with all respect in the word adore. And I thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to be on the go with us on today.
Oh, the pleasure is absolutely mine. The pleasure is mine. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You're dropping some nuggets there.
Thank you. Listen, I've learned most of these nuggets from definitely writing and listening to you and your podcast. I'm telling you. And she can pray you up under 12 million seats. I guarantee you she can. You definitely follow Dr. Trimm everywhere where you can follow her, on social media, Facebook, Instagram. Make sure that you go to her website. She at Dr. Trimm Ministries. Make sure that you follow her, sow into her. One thing that I've learned, there's power in sowing, and I don't do this much, and you probably never hear me say this a lot, but I've been doing a lot of research, and there is power in sowing where you want to go. And she hosts so many different nuggets and weight of knowledge, of where I know lots of people who will listen to this want to go in the direction. So I wouldn't care if it was just $5, whatever it is that you just feel the need, so where you want to go. I've just learned this myself. So this is why I'm saying, I mean, like I've heard it and I've done it, but I've really been learning it and doing that. And this is definitely a person that I will vouch, because you can't sow into every soil, but she is great, good soil, and you will definitely reap a harvest, an amazing harvest. And then just listen. One other thing, just listen to her podcast. Yes, podcast. You can go on YouTube, follow her, and just as you're driving or as you're cooking, just listen. And things will begin to take root, and you'll see things grow and sprout out of you that you would have never imagined. And you'll see the life that you really want to live. Just take some of the nuggets. She's done the work. So please do so. I thank you all for watching and listening on the go with Tiffany Patton, your link to love, life, and liberty. And I thank you once again, Dr. Cindy Trimm. You are welcome anytime. Anytime.
Tiffany, we have to do it again.
Yes.
I feel like I'm speaking to the younger version of myself. Because you have so much life. And I love that. So much life, so much hope. You bring so much joy, and you light up the whole room with your smile. It's amazing. Anything we can do to support you, we are here. It'll be an honor.
It'll be an honor. Thank you. And the honor has been all of mine. Please make sure, once again, get the book Unstoppable. It is on Amazon, and it comes to order. It's print to order. So as soon as you go ahead and hit send and make that payment, it will get printed right for you. You've been listening to On the Go with Tiffany Patton, your link to love, life, and liberty. Remember that someone needs you just the way you are.